Hey guys, today we want to talk about the hidden side of Filipinas. And as a person that's around a lot of expats, this is something that I've noticed from a lot of couples here, is that the girlfriends will usually show the expat that they're with what they want to see. And when that girl is separated from that expat, a lot of times, I notice that the girls are different. Like if they're around a bunch of Filipinas and you happen to be there, they're different than when that expat's there in a lot of different ways. They don't want that expat to see certain things. So they might tell people there, don't tell Johnny or don't tell Billy, that we did this or whatever, or that I smoke or that I drink or that I said this here or I like to do this here. They don't want that part to be seen. They want to keep that covered up. They want to save face. They want to make sure that expat sees what they want them to see, because they keep that character in play as long as they can do it until either they get a ring on their finger or that they know that they're pretty good with the guy and everything is good. And once they're there for a year or two or more, then they can kind of start opening up or whatever a little bit more. Whereas American women, they really pretty much let you see who they are from the beginning. You see it right from the get-go with American women, what they're all about. They pretty much will tell you and talk to you about it. They like to be kind of the boss up front. A lot of American women that I've dated in the past pretty much tell you the way it is, what they want. You can see them for who they are. They're right out there, and they don't hide anything from you. Filipinas kind of know that a lot of Americans are coming over here to look for somebody that is going to be, they're looking for somebody that's going to be kind of subservient and quiet. And a lot of Filipinos aren't really like that. I find Filipinos to be like the nicest people in the world. And they put on a good face and stuff like that, because that's who some of them are with strangers or with people. That's who they really are with other people. But when they're by themselves or with their friends, they become somebody different. And most people are kind of like that. You kind of open up when you're at a party or something like that. But I think Filipinas tend to be somebody that wants to serve, wants to make people happy. And I'm not sure where that comes from. It might come from being dominated by so many countries, by the Spaniards, the Americans, and having that servant attitude. I'm not sure if that is part of it or not. And but there's definitely something that played into that being that type of person. And not all Filipinos are like that. Like I said before, I don't like to cookie cutter people and say all people are the same. They're not. There's a lot of different types of personalities that Filipinos have. But one thing I notice is that they love to serve people and they love to make people happy. And that's kind of a good thing in a lot of ways. I think in the United States we've gotten away from that. And I think it's one reason why a lot of Filipinos go into jobs where they're service jobs. Working in hotels, they're very good at. Working serving food as waiters, waitresses, cooks, chefs, those type of things. But they're also good at engineering jobs and all these other jobs too. But they tend to get into the service jobs and fit into those jobs better. But the women here, there is part of the culture here where the women love to serve their man and they want their man to take care of them. As long as you're taking care of that woman, and I'm not saying to spoil her rotten. I'm saying as long as you're helping that woman and you're keeping her happy, that woman's going to be yours. The chances of you losing her are pretty slim. And don't ever mistreat the women here, because you'll regret it. Trust me. The women here, when they get mad, and if you leave, they get very mad, and they're gonna make you wish that you never left them. But if you take care of your woman and you help them with their family a little bit or something, if that's your thing, and that's something you have to agree on with her, and don't give too much to families around here. But American women have lost a lot of their culture from their grandparents and their parents, things that have been passed down from one generation to the next, have really disappeared. I think the Portuguese families in the United States kind of keep that in their family, and there's a lot of other cultures that also do that. Some of the people from Spain do that. There's a lot of other cultures that also have that. Swedish are very family oriented too, but a lot of their culture recently has kind of disappeared. It's not the same as what it used to be. There are sections of Sweden that are pretty much untouched by all the immigrants that are moving in there. And I think the United States is going through a massive change too, culturally, because of all the immigrants coming in, both illegally and legally. It's changing the way people think there, and the way they work, and the way they think there. And I think in the Philippines that there's a large quantity of people pouring in here now. People are starting to discover that it's so cheap to live here. There's all kinds of people coming here to live on their special visas, retirement visas, their tourist visa. You can stay here for 36 months and then leave and come back, and you're good for another 36 months. A lot of people are finding out about this, and they're coming here, and it's changing the women here too. And a lot of people think that they're all worried about the stuff over in the United States coming over here. I think a lot of it is already here, and they're already further along on some of that than most Americans want to believe. I see a lot of stuff over here that a lot of expats don't like. And I'm not going to say whether I like it or I don't. I'm just saying I just think that over here, I think that the Filipino people are in some ways way ahead of Americans in the way that they think things out. They really don't care about things as long as it doesn't bother them. If it doesn't bother them, they're okay with it. You know, in the United States, if we see something that we don't like, we feel like we always have to speak up about it, whether it's in our face or not. If it's not in our face, we still feel like we have to complain about it. You know, and why complain about something if it's not in your face and it really doesn't bother you? You know, and over here, it's not real. A lot of the things that we as Americans, a lot of Americans hate, over here, people don't even talk about it. It's not brought up. They don't talk politics over in the Philippines very much, you know. But to get back to the American women, a lot of guys come over here to escape the American women, and we've talked about this in the past, is that the problems that the American women have, you trade off different problems for over here. Now, over here, you have things where you have to kind of help the family. And remember, that's the law for helping parents. That Filipina has to help her parents. But if she doesn't have the money to do it and she's not working, does that make you responsible for that? Probably, in some respects. If you're married to her and you're living here, but if you're living back in the United States, can they go after you then? No, because you're living in another country. If you're here on a tourist visa, guess what? They probably can't go after you either. And we talked about that in another video, and I wanted to touch on that a little bit here. That a lot of people don't know that legally, Filipinas and Filipino men too are responsible for their parents, okay, financially when they get older. And they can get sued. Is it going to happen? Probably not. You know, most parents are not going to sue their kids. So keep that. Like I said, we talked about that in another video. And that's another difference between Filipinos and Americans, is that American women usually don't have to take care of their parents. Usually they're pretty, well, you know, the government either takes care of them through Medicaid, Medicare, or what have you. You really don't, it's not a thing that you have to worry about that much. And over here you do. But you have to also keep in mind that over here things are so cheap that it's not really a big concern, as big a concern as a lot of American expats make it out to be. Some expats say there's no way in hell I'm paying for my girlfriend's family or parents or whatever. and they think that, you know, if the girl says, okay, it's okay, you don't have to pay for them. Well, if you marry that girl later on, guess what? They can come after you, and if they see that you have a lot of money, they may do that. You know, and that's one of the things that we talked about in the other video. But that's a difference between Filipinos and American women, Filipina and American women. So anyway, guys, I wanted to chat about that a little bit, about the differences, because there's vast differences here. And like I said, you're trading problems over there for problems over here. They're just different problems. I think you gain a little bit, though, overall with Filipino women. I do think that they're a better type of person than a lot of the American women. I don't want to slash and burn American women, because you know, I don't want to cookie cutter them all as bad. They're not all bad. You know, there's a lot of good American women too. And remember, America is made up of many, many different people from many different countries, and some of those cultures bring good things with them too. When I'm talking about American women, you know, I'm talking about people that have been, you know, their family has been in country for a while, versus the immigrants and stuff like that are coming over, or maybe it's just 1 or 2 generations away from getting here, or whatever, getting there to the U.S. There's so many different caveats and different avenues you can go down with American women. You really can't cookie cutter all women in the United States as the same, just like you can't in the Philippines. The women here are not all the same. They all have their own personality, their own character. A lot of Filipinas, though, like to hide their true character in the beginning when they meet a guy. And it's something you really, really need to keep in the back of your mind, that they're going to hide that. And you need to find that out. Ask your friends, say, is she different when she's around you? You know, is she different when she's around other people? Are you seeing her different? Because around me, she barely talks. She doesn't let me know really too much about her. They'll feed you what they want to feed you. And a lot of women are like that anyway, let's face it, even American women to a certain extent. And there's a lot of things to think about when you're going through this. And guys, you're welcome to leave your comments on this, you know, and what you think about this. Anyway, guys, God bless. Take care. I hope you enjoyed today's show.